Beauty. Can everybody hear me in the back if I don't use a microphone? By DNA, I'm Swedish. By like when I'm on stage, I'm part Italian. So I use my hands a lot. So can you guys hear me in the back? Is that okay? Am I speaking loud enough? All right, excellent. So thank you, first of all, for inviting me out to Compass headquarters. This is a real honor for me. I know you guys are like, dude, we're here every day. What's the big deal? For me, it's kind of a big deal, right? I've only been with Compass like 7-8 weeks. So I'm really, really enjoying this opportunity to share with you, my Compass brothers and sisters, like how I solve problems with AI. Because if we're just using AI, it's just a shiny object. It's just a distraction. It's just another technology that's going to get in the way of us actually doing our real business. So what I'd like to share with you is just how to solve problems. So here's a little bit about me. I don't share any of this to impress you because you guys are probably more successful than I am, but just to impress upon you, I am a realtor. I've got 4 or 5 deals going right now. I've got a full pipeline. Been doing this since 2002. I do teach with Rum Global, which is sort of top 1%ers, 500 agents at over 65 different flags. I've been teaching them for 2 years. I'm going to be teaching at the Institute of Luxury Home Marketing's Leaders in Luxury Summit down in Scottsdale, teaching out at the Tahoe Economic Summit with Compass, teaching with Calibri in the near future. So I say all that just to say pay attention because what I am sharing is being recognized as being somewhat good. I know I'm not in Houston, but this is sort of like an Air and Space Museum reference. I was just teaching in DC and the whole DMV. In Houston, we do have a problem. We're too busy. Right? There are 1,400 agents in this office, and only like 120 of you, thank you for coming, found time to say, hey, I want to learn how to save time doing real estate because we're all too busy. And I alluded to this in the sales meeting, is that the technology that's come to date in the past 20 years has only served to rob us of more time. The text messaging, the emails, the social media, the video creation. We hear a wonderful presentation. I'll make 3 videos a week. And I don't know about you, but I'm kind of like, who has the time? Right? Have you ever thought that? And then when you get there, it's like, oh my gosh, I don't like the way I look on camera. I'm going to get to all that in just a second. But when we're too busy, how can we keep up? And when we can't keep up, marketing is inconsistent, follow-up's too slow, overwhelmed from tech, clients get confused, and there's a huge time drain. And what's the natural result of that is the roller coaster. Because we're putting our foot to the floor and we're making all the videos. We're doing the market reports. We're doing the social media. We're doing all the lead gen. We're following up. We're doing ninja stuff. And then all of a sudden, we get some deals. And we're like, oh, now I got to like do my inspections. I got to do my HOA. I've got to do my deals. And like the effort spent creating leads goes like this because we're serving our clients. And then we get done serving them. We go on vacation and we don't have any new leads in the pipeline. And there's that 90-day drag. So people suffer that commission roller coaster because we're inconsistent because there's too much time. We don't have enough time in the day. So 85% drop out after 2 years. They thought they were going to live the dream of being an entrepreneur and having all that free time, and they don't. So our future is saving time and giving our clients and ourselves a better experience. These 3 little guys are my why. I've got 3 kids, boy, girl, boy, 10, 11, and 13. And as a single dad with 50% custody, I'm like, I don't have time. Because when I have them, I want to be with them, right? And even when I was still married, it's like when I was married, I was like, I still want to be there, right? And like when we're so busy, I would like go to, they'd go to bed at 9 when they were little, and I'd stay up until 2 working because that was my free time. I didn't get any sleep because then they'd wake up at 5 and there I was going again. So for like 2, 3, 4 years, I was surviving on 3, 4 hours of sleep, and I'd crash and I'd get angry. And I was frustrated, and I was not bringing my best self to them or to clients or to me. And so I want to help you avoid that pain if you've ever felt that pain or you might be experiencing that pain today. The path forward is AI can save us time and money, and I want to show you how to do that today. So today we're going to solve 12 problems that as a realtor, I experience. I coach clients like who are brand new to ChatGPT doing $1 million in sales. I coach $100 million teams at $1,000 a month. And what I teach them is kind of the same thing, just different levels of application and co-working. But we're going to talk about phase 1, lead generation. Phase 2, how to nurture those leads. And phase 3, we might not get to today, but how to convert those. So before I go on, something I always forgot, so I had to put this in this slide. This QR code right here, if you pull out your phones, do the QR code. Thank you, COVID, for bringing QR codes back. That gets you a copy of all the slides, gets you a copy of my preferred tool list, all the shiny objects, how to apply them, etc. So if you scan that QR code, sorry, I'll step back. That'll get you a copy of everything we talk about here today. So if you do leave early and you miss the special offer at the end, it'll be on the slides and in there. And by the way, like if you're waiting for the shoe to drop, like you're not going to be able to spend more than $7 with me today. Does that bring the temperature down in the room a little bit? All right, because you're like, why are you here? And part of the reason I'm here is just because I love AI and I want to help you avoid my pain. The second reason is I'd love referrals from you. I'm an active realtor in Denver. If you have anybody going to move in Colorado, I'm your guy, right? What? Greater Denver area. And I also serve up in Summit County, so Keystone, Breckenridge, Copper. But that being said, there is a $7 offer at the end. That's not how I'm going to make any money, right? No one's getting rich off of $7. So keep the temperature down here. But while we're getting started, while everybody's shooting this QR code, ChatGPT is what I'm going to be talking about quite a bit today. And because I know people are, some people have never used it, some people have used it a lot, I'm going to spend 3 to 5 minutes just kind of doing an overview of AI and what the terms are, how to use it, how to navigate it. If you've used AI a lot, don't check your emails right now because you still might learn something. If you've never used AI, this will kind of get you up to speed. The what? Okay, it's just there's a little lag apparently. There's a little lag. So thank you for bringing that up though. I appreciate that. So when I reference AI, I'm largely going to be talking about ChatGPT today, but AI is artificial intelligence. Whether you're talking about Gemini, Claude, Copilot, Perplexity, Grok, any one of these, they're all large language models. You might hear the term LLM, large language model. What that means is billions and billions of words have been accumulated, and statistically, they're predicting what letter comes after this. If you type A, what letter is most likely going to come after it? What word's going to come after that? What sentence is going to come after that? What paragraph's going to come after that? And so it's basically just all statistics based off of algorithms and models. That's how it works. So when I'm talking about AI, that's what I'm talking about. But in general, Think about it like talking to, like, sorry, I'm trying to stay back out of the way of the QR code. Sorry if it's lagging. But in general, I'm going to be talking about like interacting with a digital assistant. Let's call him Dave for today. Digital Dave, right? And Dave is smarter than 1,000 PhDs. Does anybody remember having like an iPod with 1,000 songs in your pocket, and then the Nano, and you had 5,000 in a tinier space? Well, 1,000 PhDs in my pocket sounds kind of creepy, but think about it like 1,000 PhDs on your shoulder. It's passing the bar, it's passing medical exams, it's beating the world's best at chess, solving math problems that never been solved. So you can get amazing results from AI if you use it right. We just have to learn to use it right, and that's what we're doing today. So this is what's called a chat window, right in the center. And I'm using ChatGPT as an example, but almost all of them are set up the same. When you're chatting, I'll get to that in just a second. So when you're chatting with AI, you're basically just talking to Digital Dave, right? So you're like, when I say chat, I'm entering a prompt, which is just my side of the speech, my side of the conversation. And then ChatGPT, little Digital Dave, is going to talk back. And then we have a chat or a chat thread. And that's when you see the whole text conversation going, right? Think of it like you're on your iPhone or your Samsung, and there's a little conversation. That's called a chat thread. Your side of the conversation, his or her side of the conversation. I say that because people like pick a gender for their AI. They call it names. They're like, hey, Chatty, hey, Claudia, hey, Cliff. Like, okay, I just call mine ChatGPT. But I'm starting to use Digital Dave a lot more. So in this version, with all these pop-up windows kind of frozen in place, I am using the $20 a month version. That was the question. All of these have a free version and a paid version. ChatGPT with a $20 a month version is the best $20 you can ever spend on your business, hands down. Like, avoid the shawarma cart one time on the street and just skip lunch, pay for this, because it's so worth it. Sorry. So you're gonna enter your chat right here, your side of the conversation, and then there are some options here. This little plus button allows you to upload a PDF or a JPEG or an Excel spreadsheet, a CSV, Word doc, and ChatGPT can interpret that. I'm going to show you how that works. There's a whole bunch of different fun tools here. Deep research is my favorite. You say, hey, and why are people moving to Brooklyn? Why are people moving to Tribeca? Where are they moving out of? Deep research. ChatGPT will say, well, why are you asking? It'll ask you like 3 or 4 questions, and then all of a sudden, like, it goes and thinks for like 10 or 15 minutes. Gemini has deep research, Grok has deep research, Perplexity has deep research. It's amazing. So all of a sudden, like, you can run deep research on 4 or 5 different AI tools, and all of a sudden have 15-page research papers done on why people are moving to Tribeca. How cool is that? And you were just having a cup of coffee. Question in the back. So the question was, if you have a virtual assistant, and I do help people place virtual assistants, I have a whole company that does that. But virtual assistants, you're going to set up a team account. And so then in the team account, you can have your personal messages that you don't share and the business messages that you do share. And then you can work on the same stuff together. You have to pay another $20 or $30 a month for the assistant. Again, well worth it. So then we go up in here, and this lets you choose the model, which until a little while ago was kind of a big deal. Now ChatGPT 5 auto picks for you, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. Down here in the lower left, you're going to see your name, and if you've set it up properly, your picture. There's a little customized ChatGPT function right there. When you hit customize ChatGPT, some little windows are going to pop up like, hey, who are you? What do you do? How are you using ChatGPT? What do you want to know? What do we need to know about you so we can do our job better? Again, if you hire Dave, if you don't tell Dave who you are, how good a job can Dave do? Dave's really short, apparently. Like, good Dave. But if you hire Dave, like short little Dave here, Dave's not going to do a really good job if he doesn't know who you are. So there's a little window. Tell us who you are. Well, I don't know about you, but I've never done something I haven't done before. So I asked ChatGPT, I'm like, hey, how do I fill this box out? In custom instructions, there's this little box that says, who are you? What should I put there? What do you need to know about me to help you answer the question with me? Remember that. What do you need to know about me to do your job better? Dave's like, I don't know who you are at all. So can you answer these 20 questions for me? Oh, sure, I'll answer those 20 questions for you. I've got 3 more. All right, I'll answer 3 more. And now Dave can give me an answer that I can put in that box that actually moves the needle. Then there's a little box, hey, who should ChatGPT be? Should it be inquisitive? Should it be professional? Should it have a casual tone? Should it really speak like Samuel L. Jackson to you? Like, hey, what do you need? What do I need to know? Here's some questions. Well, Dave, here are 20 answers to help you fill out that little box. Yeah, so I'm going to show you live here. Sharing the screen live is always kind of a tricky thing, but let me try. So I'm going to share this screen, and down here, personalization, and then you've got these little boxes that pop up. And so in these little boxes, you can have it remember your memory. You can enter all these different things. You can use record mode. There are a whole lot of things in this personalization function that you can do. So that's down here. That gets you a little bit along the way of, hey, ChatGPT, can you speak in my voice? You might hear that a lot. I want it to speak more like me, and I'll get into how to do that. Has everyone had a chance to scan this QR code before I move on? It's not working? Oh, my goodness gracious. Technology. It's great until it's not great. All right, so we'll work with Matthew to figure that out. All right, so phase 1, finding and attracting clients. These are 6 problems that I have with lead generation. Social media posts, listing descriptions, videos, lead magnets, market reports, open house. Are any of these things time vampires for you? Right? Huge time vampires. So let's tackle a couple. The first one we had today was social media posts. Great advice. Post 3 videos a week. But how do you post? What do you post? How do I know what people are actually talking about and want to hear about? Right? Because if you post something that nobody cares about, nobody's going to read it. So what I like to do, one of the things I like to teach when we're working together is let's post on something people are actually asking about today. One of the ways to find that is go to answerthepublic.com. And answerthepublic.com is built by Neil Patel, who's an SEO genius. And Answer the Public, you can say, hey, Tribeca Real Estate. And it'll give you like 120 topics that people are asking about today related to Tribeca Real Estate. Or you can go into Google and type it just into the search engine. And have you ever seen that people also ask? There's a little section that pops up and it says people also ask these 5 things. You click on one of those and close it, and 2 more pop up. You click on one, close it, 3 more pop up. They're like little rabbits, it's like they just keep multiplying. But all of a sudden now you have 5, 10, 15, 18 things that people are asking about. And this is low-hanging SEO fruit, SEO search engine optimization. Because while everybody else is competing for Tribeca Real Estate, you can help compete for these other 18 things people are also asking about. If they're also asking about, they might click on that and boom, you're going to show up first because you're answering the topical question. So then how do we do that? You say, gobbledygook, I kind of want to write a blog post. I think I want to write a website page-ish thing. I want to do some social media posts. I'm supposed to create a video. That's your gobbledygook prompt. And with elementary school input, you're going to get elementary school output. But then we go back to the beginning of that. Before we hit enter and send it, we say, please create a prompt that. Because ChatGPT is so smart, it will create the PhD level prompt. So what does that look like? So right here, I say, please give me a prompt that will gobbledygook, that will create a blog post, then supporting social media posts, LinkedIn, Facebook, Insta, YouTube, Google My Business for a given topic. Just with that, ChatGPT gave me this prompt. This prompt is a lot better.
I also would add to that what I do, tell us what it is. You're the top New York City real estate broker.
So I don't have to do that anymore because you're the top real estate broker. You act like a professional copywriter. You might have seen that one. Well, a professional copywriter who writes children's books, right? I don't know. But this one now says, you're an expert content strategist for real estate and business professionals. I will provide you with a topic. You provide me a polished SEO-friendly blog post, compelling headline options, subheadings, short intro, clear structure, create supporting social media posts for LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube with all of these variations, all of the formats already put out. For each platform, adapt the tone, formatting, length, include strong but non-salesy CTAs. At the end, provide suggested hashtags, blog categories, et cetera, et cetera. So when I just say, please create a prompt that, ChatGPT is going where this wise gentleman went, which was ChatGPT has to know who it is, right? You have to narrow it down. You have to say, who are you? What are we trying to do? What tone? What output? Who am I writing to? All of that. Well, this is the shortcut to getting all of that input. And to give you an analogy, a year ago, I used to teach, hey, ChatGPT is like a golden retriever. Have you ever thought about it that way? It wants to please you. That's all it wants to do. It wants to be happy and please you. So when you say, go fetch a ball, and a golden retriever is going to run out into the backyard, dig in a bush, come back to you with this round thing, and you take it out of the mouth, you're like, this is just a dirty ball of socks. Like, how'd that even get there? Is a neighbor's kid throwing this in my yard? Like, what the heck? And ChatGPT is like, I gave you the ball. I gave you the ball. Pat my head. And you're like, no. And so what I used to teach is what he's talking about. Is like, hey, I want you to get a yellow ball, 2¼ inches in diameter, yellow antimicrobial coating, 1/4 inch of rubber under that, then have some foam, then have a 3/4 inch hardcore density cork. So when I throw it from 4 feet with 5 pounds of force onto a tile floor, it'll come back up to 8 feet. And then, but here's a blue example of it. And when you were that specific, ChatGPT would go get you that exact yellow ball. Now I say, I need a ball, give me a prompt that will give me that. And then if I want to, I include examples, but now ChatGPT gets me like 80 to 90% of the way there, just with a prompt out of the gate that it created. Now you have to copy that and paste it back in, and then put your topic underneath it, but then it'll get you examples. So let's see what this looks like. So topic, anybody experience rate lock? Probably pretty common, right? So topic is, should I sell my home financed at 3% and buy at 6%? I'm scared. It doesn't seem to make much sense. My kids just went to college, just me and my partner at home. Empty nester, rate lock. Why would I possibly think of trading in my $7,000 mortgage for a $12,000 mortgage, right? It just doesn't make sense to me. So I took the PhD level prompt, I did gobbledygook, PhD, put in this topic, and look at all it gave back to me. So big, you can't even see it from back there, right? It gave me a blog outline. It gave me social media posts. It gave me hashtags. It gave me meta descriptions. It gave me all this stuff. I could say, flush it out. And then it'd take the blog outline, and it'll take that blog outline and write 2,000, 2,500 words, SEO, search engine optimized words from a blog post. So you can take this innocuous topic that's on everybody's mind and turn it into tons and tons of content. I call that daisy chaining, going from gobbledygook to PhD level to daisy chaining this information all the way along the way. Because what we just heard was you can take this video and post it to 5 platforms. But when you post that video to 5 platforms, you need to adapt to all the different platforms. They have different demographics. They have different ways of speaking. They have different cadences. And ChatGPT can create those for you. So then if you want to, there's a little dictation button. When you go back to this, over on the right, there's a little microphone, and you can hit the microphone and say, hey, you know what? This is a great topic. I just had this experience, and tell your experience, hit the microphone again to turn it off, and then say, ChatGPT, can you weave the, I don't actually type in, hey, ChatGPT, but I'm just letting you know I'm typing, conversing, right? So, hey, ChatGPT, can you weave this into the blog post? My personal experience. Why? Because people can get to know you. ChatGPT does not know your stories. ChatGPT does not know your past successes, your failures, the way your clients rave about you. But you can say, hey, I need to tell this story in this blog post. Oh, by the way, can you weave in this testimonial close to the call to action? And ChatGPT will take this generic content, this generic outline, and then weave your stories and your testimonials in close to the call to action and personalize that. What's another benefit of doing that? Because now ChatGPT, Google, everybody else is seeing new, fresh content. They're going to be like, oh my gosh, you're creating something new. Let's pay attention to that. So I have a client in Hawaii natively speaks Japanese, and he's doing Japanese blog posts every single day, and a lot of his clients come from Japan and buy in Hawaii. He's like, Rick, I'm really successful with this. I'm not as good at writing in English. Can you help me out? So we started doing this, and he started posting like 5 days a week. Why? Because it takes him 15 minutes a day. Why wouldn't you? And he's writing on a viral topic every day. This is what people are actually asking about. So he's writing, he has help writing in another language. He's posting on things people talk about. And now when you search for in ChatGPT, who's the best realtor in Hawaii, his name starts coming up. Not because it knows his chat threads, but because he's actually posting it on his website as fresh content. It's an active site. It's getting new content. It's on viral stuff. People are paying attention. And ChatGPT says, we better pay attention to this because this guy's blowing up the internet. And now ChatGPT is finding him as a realtor, and he's starting to get business out of people, asking ChatGPT questions. All right, so how do you use this in day-to-day life? So I was in a sales meeting. We're about to give this presentation, and there was a lender up there. You can barely see these, I'm sorry. But there was a lender up there presenting some slides, kind of like today, right? And here's the graphs, and here's the trends, and here's the stuff, and here is this little, text slides that you could barely read in the back of the room. And I just started snapping pictures on my phone. Why? Because ChatGPT is an app on your phone too, which ties seamlessly to your laptop. PC, Mac, it doesn't matter. So I had ChatGPT open on my laptop, opened up ChatGPT on my phone. I started taking pictures, took 3 pictures, and now I'm in the chat thread. I'm in the conversation. I'm in the text messages, right? I'm having this conversation. It already had the PhD level prompt about my blog and all I wanted to do with it. So I just uploaded these 3 pictures in my phone into ChatGPT using that plus button. And I said, please create a blog post based on these 3 slides. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 10 words, right? Please create a blog post based off these 3 slides. All of a sudden, bam, here are the headlines. Mortgage rates, Fed shakeups, and market outlook. What home buyers should know now. 5 alternate headlines. Introduction, current mortgage rate snapshot. Fed governor does this. And I was posting, before he was even done speaking, I was posting on social media. I said, wow, so lucky to be encompassed with great in-house lenders. We just got these 3 slides. Here's what it means to you. Because when I was looking around this room, nobody was going to use the information that was presented here today. You might go back and you might pick out 1 slide, but I was like, I need to interpret this for my home buyer or my home seller, or why did I come to the sales meeting? If I'm getting all this great wisdom, I need to show that I'm the expert. I need to translate it to them in a way that they understand it. So I posted those 3 slides. Then they got up and he started talking about, oh, we've got this great product and it's better than a bridge loan. I'm like, wow, that could really shake loose a client if I knew what to say. I don't know anybody who needs a bridge loan, or, oh God, why it's better than a bridge loan. And maybe someone's contemplating a bridge loan in my database, but they wanted something better. So I took a picture of these 4 slides. Hey, here's another art. Can we get another article explaining why Origin Point loan is better than the bridge loan based on these slides? Headline, alternate headlines, boom, boom, boom. What this means, buying before selling, how this impacts you as a buyer or seller. And again, I had another article going out, scheduled to go out later that day, based off the slides. I will find a way to get these to you. I'm sorry that the QR code's not working. So the title company gave up and gave me market boring updates. Like, who cares? Like, if I send this slide to my clients, does that move the needle for anybody? Of course not. Like, they don't know what this means. So I said, can you interpret this for a home seller? Why? Because in my chat thread, I've already got the PhD level up above. ChatGPT remembers. So I said, hey, interpret this for a home seller. Hey, what this means, more homes are hitting the market. Listings, takeaway. Buyer activity has softened. Under contract, stats, takeaway. Home seller prices are stable. Stats, takeaway. Big picture for sellers. It's interpreting the data for the seller or for the buyer, which is why they hire us and why we get paid the big bucks. Right? And you need big bucks. I've been looking at prices around here. They're crazy. I don't know how you guys survive New York. It depends on who you want to appeal to. So we'll cover that. So the question was, like, are you appealing to the buyer and the seller in the post? Well, it depends upon who you're trying to figure out who you're talking to, and we'll cover that. But so I had a client who was doing some co-working with me, and I co-work with people every Thursday from like 11 to 2 Eastern time. And I open my laptop, you open your laptop, we're on Zoom and we're working together. I do it as a small group. And so we were co-working together, and this client was like, hey, that rate lock thing looks kind of cool. And at the time, interest rates were at 7%. So I said, why would I sell at 3 and buy at 7? It doesn't make sense. So I said, let's interpret this. Let's create this article. So she created the article, and then she started iterating and playing with it and saying, hey, can you give me like a short blog or a short little intro paragraph for a seller for my newsletter? Can you give me a short little paragraph for a buyer for my newsletter? Those then drove them to the article on the website, which is the blog. The blog had the call to action, call me, book an appointment. By the way, that's your common call to action, book an appointment, book an appointment. I'll get to that in a minute. So she wrote this article, she sent it out like while we were in class, while we were co-working, she sends this out, and somebody she had never met before in her database calls her up, said, I'd like to go shopping for a home at like 2.3 million. They toured for 4 days, wrote at 1.89 on a house, were under contract 4 days later. Someone she had never met before. Why? Because she answered a question for them, shook the tree a little bit, and helped find and solved a real world problem for a real world human. So we have to think about, what are these problems? What are they trying to figure out? So the question is, you keep mentioning blog posts. Is that the thing? I'm saying put it everywhere. So I used to blog back in like 2002. I was coding Drupal and learning WordPress and all this crazy stuff. And I'd spend 12 hours a day coding, never finding a client because it was really hard back then. But now, to cut through the noise, all we're trying to do is find that next best friend. The one we really want to have over for some Roma New York pizza or Joe's Pizza, right? We want to find somebody that's to come to our house, have pizza and wine, and go spend $4 million. Like, that's our ideal client. So we're just trying to, our Zillow leads, our blog posts, all of this is to find our next best friend. So all we're doing is trying to cut through the noise. So yeah, post it on your website, but then daisy chain it. And because it's so easy, post it to Facebook, Insta, TikTok, LinkedIn, Google My Business. Because why? ChatGPT just wrote all the text for you. All you got to do is copy and paste, boom, 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 or pay a VA at $6 an hour, $8 an hour in the Philippines to go boom, 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 boom. You can post 4 or 5 times a day if someone's doing it for you, because it doesn't take that long to do. And then we'll get to other ways to use it here in just a second. But does this make sense? Like what I'm talking about? Like gobbledygook prompt, PhD level, insert topic, daisy chain. And you're just going to post it as many places as you can because it's so easy. So this
daisy chaining and all the cross motion might be a little overwhelming for some people. The most basic thing might be just starting there in your Instagram or just there on your Facebook.
Yeah.
Facebook. The goal is the bigger picture.
Yeah. So the suggestion was pick one social media platform, master it, and then move to the others. And that's definitely a way to do it.
Okay, so my question on the content we're creating is, how do you
Yeah. So the question, can you guys still hear me if I just kind of yell? All right. So 9 years of theater in school comes in handy at some point. So the question was like, hey, how do you avoid it looking like AI? The AI fingerprints are going to be all over it and Google's going to penalize you, right? That's what we read about because people are trying to scare you away from doing this kind of stuff. Well, one way to do that is just give it better prompts. And like, hey, you're acting like a professional copywriter, write this. It's going to sound pretty generic. But if you start going to PhD level prompts, you start getting more nuanced stuff. But you're also still the human in the loop. So you can add your own expertise. The easiest way to do that is with the microphone button, dictate in a personal story and say, please weave this into this blog post. That's content that's never been seen by AI before because AI's never been over to your house for pizza. AI's never gone and worked out with you over the 24-hour fitness. So if AI doesn't know your story, it's fresh and original. And you say, hey, weave this in. And that oftentimes will just knock it right out of the park right there. You can also like, hey, get rid of M dashes and all this other stuff. I don't like the tools that say, hey, we're going to teach you how not to write like AI, because oftentimes it just says it's going to misspell something or be grammatically incorrect. And my clients are going to look at me and go, dude, you're an attorney with an MBA. Like, why is your writing so crappy? I'm not going to dumb down to be a sixth grader to find a luxury client trying to buy or sell it for $1 million. Well, that's probably not even luxury here, right? It's like 10 million, something like that. You guys are crazy. It's off the chain. So that's one way to do it. The other thing is like you're still the human in the loop. So whether you're hiring, Lindsay in the Philippines or Digital Dave or you, if it's going out with your name on it, you are still responsible for it because your name's on it. So make sure it abides by fair housing guidelines. Make sure it tells a good story. If you don't read your content because it's too boring, who else is going to read it? Because it's kind of friggin' boring, right? So like make sure it's actually fun or exciting or educational or moves the needle. If you don't want to read, and this QR code is not going to work, so I don't take a picture of this one. But if like make sure the content actually moves the needle and you want to read it or nobody else is going to want to. So realestatecontent.ai is on the list that I'll send you of shiny tools that I like. Kyle and Mark do a really good job over this company building out something. It has its own AI built in. So you can just say, hey, find me some family-friendly restaurants in the Upper East Side or the Upper West Side, right? And so it'll find some family-friendly restaurants. It'll find some photos for you. It'll create all the posts, and you can schedule them out. And so you can see on a calendar, here's my content, here's where it's going, all the platforms it's going to. You can customize your colors, your fonts, your logo, your headshot, all that one time, and then it's always there. So a really simple, easy tool to use. But also when I'm daisy chaining and I create the blog post, I want to post it to 6 different social media channels, I'm going to just post it into realestatecontent.ai so I can keep track of it and schedule it and see where it's going. So they find that their average client saves 10 hours a month and 90% see results in 30 days. And I'll make sure you get a code to this so we can do a full 1 hour with them because it's an awesome tool. So listing descriptions. Compass AI has come a really long way with this. It's awesome. So I put in my first listing and I say, here are all the details. One button, 2 seconds later, I've got a listing description. Is that pretty awesome or what? I love it. I want to teach you to go a step beyond that because we can do beyond that right now, and Compass AI will catch up because it's using OpenAI and ChatGPT in the background. But when I'm writing listing copy, it gets a little boring after 23 years to say open floor plan, chef's kitchen, light, bright. Like my words are getting boring. And I'm running out of words. I don't know anything unique to say. So now what I can do is using that little plus button, I can upload some pictures. So let's go through a kind of an example. Let's say you're going out on a listing appointment and you're listing something that's been listed before. So you go on Zillow, Redfin, whatever, and you find some pictures. You find the general stats, the square, it's 2,000 square feet, it's 3-bedroom, whatever it is. And you dump that into ChatGPT and you're like, well, if I'm doing good marketing, I need to know who I'm marketing to. I'm not going to market a young up-and-comer neighborhood to someone who's 80 years old and downsizing, right? But I can't say that and violate FHA, but I also know like some neighborhoods are kind of geared towards some people more than others and whatnot. And without steering, because that's illegal and we don't want to do that and it's bad, we still want to like write to somebody one-to-one as opposed to one-to-many. Because if Mercedes went out there and said, hey, buy a car, that marketing kind of falls on deaf ears. Just like buy a house falls on deaf ears. But if we describe that property, if we tell a story, a narrative to somebody that actually might want to buy that, they might listen because it sings to them like a siren, like the little Starbucks sign, right? The siren singing a song. So I say, hey, buyer, can you please create a prompt that will create a buyer persona for an address I give you? Gobbledygook. Now ChatGPT gives me a PhD level prompt of what a marketing team might charge $7,000 to do back in the old days of researching the potential buyer for that property. Who's going to buy that $4 million condo or the $2 million co-op, right? Who's going to do that? And so that now the PhD level prompt says, what are their dreams, their fears, their goals, desires? Where do they buy coffee? What do they drive? Do they take the town cars? Do they Uber? Like it describes them a little bit. So now when I take that Zillow listing from the old pictures and I take the description and say, hey, I'm about to go on a listing appointment. Here are some pictures and here's some basic stats. Here's a buyer persona. Can you master prompts, create a PhD level of, can you please create a prompt that will create a listing description for me appealing to a given buyer persona? So now we take the PhD level listing description, give it the PhD level answer buyer persona, a couple of pictures, and bam, when I go on that listing appointment, I might run 2 or 3 personas. Say, hey, Mrs. Buyer, or Mrs. Seller, sorry, sitting across the kitchen table doing the $10,000 an hour work, right? This is where you build the know, like, and trust. Hey, I took the liberty of creating 3 personas who are likely to buy this property. And which one of these, push them across the table, do you think is most likely to buy your house? Oh, well, let me look. Interact with your paper, right? They're getting involved. And beneath each one of them is a full-on social media campaign. Oh, by the way, while you're reading those, for each one, I've customized the listing description, the brochure description, the website description, the social media campaign, the way we're going to go to market with Compass Platform. All of that's been customized to the persona based off of who you think would most likely buy your house. We might appeal to 2. I might blend them. Has anyone else done this for you? No, because they're afraid to use AI. But it took you like 12 minutes. Does that make sense? Just go in the extra level. And part of what I'm going to do today is teach you exactly how to do everything I teach, right? The other thing I want to do is if it's going a little like drinking from a fire hose, I want you to take like some key concepts away. Like think about one thing you're going to actually take away from today and do today. But also, like, I want to just kind of blow your mind a little bit with some possibilities of where AI is going and what your competitors are starting to do with AI. So you freak out a little bit. You go, gosh, like if they're doing this and I'm not doing this, how am I going to be in business a year from now? Because it's going to be really, really hard. So let's like take a look at what this looks like. So I uploaded 10 pictures of a listing. I created the buyer persona. Now I said, please create the listing description. And it starts kicking it out. But that plus button, you can just upload the pictures. And this is what that kind of looks like interactive-wise. Going further on this, when I was on the listing appointment, it's like $1.5 million home, which in our neighborhood is fairly expensive. And I'm walking around and I pull out my phone, and on my phone is an app called otter.ai, O-T-T-E-R.ai. So I pull out Otter, which transcribes this. And I say, hey, do you mind if I record this conversation, because you're going to say so many wonderful things about your property, I don't want to forget. And what you're telling me is the reason our marketing is going to be so successful. And if I'm writing notes, I'm afraid I'm going to miss something. And I also just want to be present with you. So do you mind if I transcribe this? Oh, no problem. Guess what else you can do with that transcript? Hey, ChatGPT, please critique my listing presentation. That's some real, that's the hard one right there. Like have ChatGPT critique your performance based off your transcript. But so now I'm like walking around with my Otter, just in my phone, right? I can have a microphone, or I can put Otter in my pocket or in my hand. And I say, hey, you mind if I take some pictures of your home while we're going around? Well, why would I do that? Well, one client was taking pictures room by room, and they hadn't sold their house in 32 years. How terrified were they of moving? A little bit of clutter, right? A little bit of personal items. So they're like, Rick, we don't even know if we're going to sell right now. It might take us 6 months to get ready to go to market. Would you mind coming over to our house? Happy to. Take picture, take picture, take picture, take picture. One by one, I uploaded the pictures into a chat thread. I said, hey, ChatGPT, can you give me a moving guide for this room, what it needs to get ready for staging? Put it in a checklist format. And every surface, every wall, tell me how it needs to be properly staged. And it listed every item to be removed, every item to be taken off the wall. They had throwing hatchets, like maybe not a good idea to have in a listing, right? So we're like, let's get rid of all these items. And I printed out this whole checklist for them in a PDF form, and I sent them a room by room checklist. They called me up in 3 weeks, said, Rick, we're ready to go to market. 5 months ahead of schedule. Could I have done that with my own pictures? Yes, but do I want to be sitting around typing up, move this lamp, like for all day long? No, that's $8 an hour work. I want to delegate that to AI. But I could give them the PDF, show them the expertise. I reviewed it, I sent it on, I moved their timetable up 5 months. Another one, I was here, and the home had dated sconces, dated lighting, and she's like, Rick, should I change the sconces? Should I change this? Should I paint my kitchen cabinets? I said, well, I don't know. Now, I know in her neighborhood, white cabinets are kind of preferred. But do I want to sit there and really convince her to go spend some money on painting her cabinets? No. So I took a picture, put it into ChatGPT. I said, hey, ChatGPT, long story, a little bit longer prompt, but can you paint these cabinets for me? Keep the room dimensions the same, keep the windows the same, everything else, but just kind of change the cabinet color to white. And within a minute, this image popped up, and for her little coffee nook. So brown cabinets, white cabinets. And so I sat there with my phone. I said, well, if you were online shopping as a buyer at 1.5 million, which one gets you to call your listing agent and ask for an appointment? And I let her sell herself based off of her own experience as a buyer on her own home. ChatGPT, based off of current market rates, what does it take to professionally spray these cabinets? It goes to Upwork, it goes to Thumbtack, it finds the rates, and it tells me a range. I say, hey, I got a guy for like $6,000 who can paint these. Is that something you want to do? ChatGPT gives me the range. I don't have to know. ChatGPT helped me let her convince herself of where she should go with her marketing. How else can that be used? Vacant home, 2.4 million. And this room was not staged. Seller says, should we stage our house? We all know the answer to that. But they're looking at spending $3,300. And they're like, we don't want to spend that. Hey, ChatGPT, keeping the room dimensions the same, don't change the lights, don't change the colors, blah, 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 blah. Gobbledygook in, please create a prompt that, PhD level prompt out. Hey, can you stage this room for me? Can you tell which one of these was done by ChatGPT and which one was done by Box Brownie with real humans using AI for $25 in 48 hours? They do a great job. You're saying this is ChatGPT and this is not? Hard to tell unless you see the vacant picture because the windows are just a little bit different. This one ended up being ChatGPT. This one was Box Brownie, but on the exterior. Okay. Okay, that's an interesting catch. Yeah. Yeah. So this one, it was a real. I didn't even do the PhD level prompt on this. I just said stage it for me. Like I literally just said stage that. So Box Brownie is a company that like you can send photos off to get fake sunsets, fake skies. You can stage something. You can take like a project in the middle of a remodel, finish it out. Box Brownie is humans using AI to do a really, really refined job. They do a great job. So, but I did this live on the spot to let my seller convince the seller that they needed to pay for staging. Because that's not where I wanted to spend my energy on that appointment. My energy was on hire me, not go hire a stager. So I let them convince themselves on the stager. That's what this picture was for. This picture, 24 to 48 hours later for $25 was used in the private exclusive saying, virtually staged, room dimensions aren't exact, etc. So private exclusive, we were staged while we waited for the stager to come in on Thursday, this past Thursday. I took pictures on Saturday, video on Monday. We go to market tomorrow, fully staged. But that's the progression. I didn't use the ChatGPT staging as my final version, but it was a sales tool for me to help the seller move in the right direction, which I knew would get them more money for their house, which is our job. Questions on that without getting in the weeds? And I'm not sorry for people online. I'm not able to kind of monitor the questions there. So video. So as a hobby, I do photography. I have a lot of hobbies. And so I do photography and I have for like 20 years. And so at Christmas, I'll say, hey, let's go take some Christmas photos. In the fall, I say, let's do some fall leaf photos. And I pull out my big DSLR and the big zoom lens. And the first thing 90% of people tell me is, Rick, I don't like the way I look today. And it's so sad. It breaks my heart, right? I don't like the way I look today. I can tell you like 18 things I don't like the way I look today, but I'm not going to tell you because you're going to start looking for them, right? But I just want to tell you, like right here, right now, you guys are all beautiful, right? You're made the way you're made, the way God made you. You sound the way you sound on camera, on person, and your friends and your family still love you anyway. So get over it. Like you're loved, you are beautiful, right? So that's my little pump up session out of the way. But now that you feel beautiful, you're still terrified to get on camera. You're like, oh my gosh, my hand's going to shake. I had too much coffee and not enough breakfast. So what I do is I take my phone, I pin it against the window because you want soft light coming in. And I'll pin the selfie camera against the window because my hand's shaking. And I'm like, well, I've got too much echo in the room. So you start throwing pillows around to absorb sound. And then someone's talking, the cat meows, the dog barks, some kid pulls on your leg. You're like, oh my gosh, can I just make the freaking video? Right? I'm supposed to make 3 videos a day or 3 videos a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, like we just heard. So there are 2 ways to overcome this, and also what to say. So one is at the end of the daisy chain, you say, hey, can you please create a 30-second narrator-only script for a teleprompter? Because I'm going to forget what to say. If I'm doing cost of living, someone moving from Florida back up here because COVID's over, cost of living between Miami and New York. Am I going to remember the cost of eggs? Am I going to remember the cost of gas? Am I going to remember like the income needed there versus the income here? No, because I'm human. And so I'm going to take 45 takes of that cost of living video. But if I put it in a teleprompter and have ChatGPT write that script for me, that's pretty easy to remember. And if I say, ChatGPT, can you give me like 5 mildly shocking or alarming hooks that I can play with? A hook is the beginning, the first 2 to 5 seconds. Because if you say, hi, I'm Rick Janson, and I've been a realtor for 20 years, and your referral is the greatest compliment I can get. And everybody's tuning out of that video except wondering why I'm talking so weird, right? But if I say, hey, here are 5 things you need to know about moving to Tribeca before you spend a dime, I might watch that video. So you get a mildly shocking or alarming hook, you play around with those, and you put it on a tool called bigview.tv, BIGVU.tv. BigView has a teleprompter app. And so you can adjust the size of the font, you can adjust the space between lines, you can adjust the speed of the scroll, you can pin it against the window. And Keeping Current Matters does that. It's a great company. They have this little automatic teleprompter thing. You don't need to pay $20 a month anymore because you can create your own script on a trending topic, hijack that trend, daisy chain it down to a little 30-second narration-only script, put it into BigView, pin it against a window, put it on a tripod, and speak. Read. We can all read. And if you're reading and your eyes are doing this, there's a little button that says AI redirect. And your eyes will go, whoop, whoop, and all of a sudden, whoop, your eyes are directly on the camera. Crazy use of AI. But realize, like, we know your eyeballs are doing this, and that looks a little weird when you're talking to somebody, right? Like, dude, really, are you like on speed or something? So like, it'll just lock your eyes straight on the camera, and that's where you build the know, like, and trust. There's another way to do this, which is with avatars. And if you've seen the movie Avatar, it turns you into someone big and blue with long legs, and you're swinging through the jungle shooting down spaceships. No. HeyGen and tools like it, HEYGEN, will create an avatar of you, which is a digital video version of you. And it's so good now. Not only there are 2 ways to train it. One is you can do like a 3-minute training video. You get the light right once, you get the sound right once, you get the environment right once, you look perfect once, your hair's did, and your shirt's pressed, and everything's looking good. And you try 45 times to speak and not stutter and like not to screw up, and you're like, oh my God. And you do the 45 tries, and you get one that works, and you're like, oh my God, this took 4 hours. But you're like, are you going to do 4 hours every single day to post a perfect video? No. So that's why nobody ever does video. But you do it one time, and now I don't care if it's you or someone in the Philippines at $6 an hour can be sitting there typing, and you is speaking, your video moves, your face moves, your hands move, and people say, well, is it perfect? No, it's the worst it's ever going to be, and it's pretty darn good. I met a guy who recently, he was doing a seminar last week that I was co-teaching with, and he said he was fooling his mom with his avatar. So it's pretty good. And now you can take a professional photo. Maybe you had, came onto Compass, your marketing budget had professional photos. You can actually take that photo and turn that into a moving video. So we have a friend, Carol and I have a friend out in Healdsburg that's actually doing this. He has a picture of him outside leaning on a stair railing in a great setting with great light, but he didn't have a video camera that day. But now HeyGen is taking that photo and turning that into a moving, talking version of him. And he clones his voice with a tool at 11 Labs. So he uses 11 Labs to clone his voice. He uploads it to the still photo at HeyGen. Boom. Video talking of you. HEYGEN, HeyGen. And the other 11 Labs for the voice. But If you do a video at HeyGen, HEYGEN, if you do a video there, it already has your voice. It already knows like your still face, your resting face, how your hands move. But think about it this way too. If you put a 5-second video of you speaking, 80% of the people are watching it on their phone. And then you drop it down to like a little circle, and the little circle of you now is talking, but people are going to be watching the market updates. They're going to be watching the B-roll of the neighborhood. So they're not really watching your lips on the tiny little picture, the half-inch on your phone, to see if they're exactly moving perfectly with the sound. But they see your face, they hear your voice while they've got the market stats, and that anchors you in their mind as the expert more than just a cold email. But now you also don't have to go through that 4-hour production like I did in my kitchen to muffle the sound, to get the light, to put ring lights up, to, oh, now the sun's set, now I got to change all the lights again, right? Like you don't have to go through all that nonsense because you have an avatar you can play with. And then if you get really sophisticated, you have someone in the Philippines or somewhere in Mexico or whatever. I prefer the Philippines, but if you have somebody like a virtual assistant typing up your content every day on a hot viral topic, daisy chaining it out, creating a narration-only script for you with some mildly shocking and alarming hooks, putting out 4 or 5 different versions of the video for the different platforms, and now you're on video 2 to 3 times a day talking about random various stuff. Now, for guys, it's super easy, especially in New York. Black t-shirt, black hat, this is my look. 1 avatar, 85 videos. Women usually like to have 2 or 3, 4 outfits. They create different avatars. Now they have different looks. But guess what? With 1,000 followers, 10 or 20 are going to see your video. It doesn't matter if you're wearing the same outfit because not everybody's seeing it. But now they're starting to see you on video more often. They're like, wow, you're prolific on video. Like, no, that's not my highest and best use of time. My zone of genius is being across the table from you, getting you to know, like, and trust me so we can buy and sell homes together. I don't want to be on video camera, but I've got to cut through the noise to find my next best friend. So I automate that with AI so I can be here making money, because this doesn't make money. Is this translating and hitting home with some of you? I know some of you have to leave, but thank you for being here as long as you could. Yeah. Yeah, so the question for the camera and for the people back in the back row, the question is, who do I like to use for B-roll? I don't want to use fictitious buildings if I'm in a specific neighborhood. I need to show something real and authentic. So there are a lot of different ways to do that and a lot of different tools for that. Sometimes it's like, hey, let me just go around and while I'm just driving somewhere, I'm going to just shoot some B-roll because I've got 5 minutes to spare. So just shoot video with your camera. Start logging it in, like use real footage. Another way is to go to like stock video places. If you're not doing specific neighborhoods, but you want to give kind of a feel, there are amazing tools out there right now, like Google has VEO3, where you can create fake videos, and you can get all into fantastic stuff with that. But sometimes it's like just market updates. So use slides. You can use still pictures of your old listings and just say, hey, these are my old listings in the background, just to have something dynamic moving while your avatar is speaking.
While you were telling me how to do that, I did it here. Like create a full-blown PDF. Yeah, that would all right. I wanted to say this. Talking about the different personas, the potential target buyers who are listening when you're going on a pitch. I'm actually going on a pitch today, and I thought that was a genius idea that I had never thought about. I use ChatGPT all the time. So I went ahead and put those prompts. I had it as a physical buyer, so I imported all that descriptions, things about the building. Anyways, it gave me the different personas of who the potential buyers are and how I'm going to market them. And then ChatGPT ended up putting that in a PDF with my logo, all bullet pointed out. Now I can print off this PDF and create part of my pitch. All today, just taught me how to do it for 5 minutes. So really cool stuff.
I love that. So implementing what you're learning while you're learning it. And that's what we do every Thursday is co-working sessions like that. All right, so let's get back to me speaking loud. Got to, because the microphone's kind of like slowing me down. So lead magnets. Does anybody know what a lead magnet is or not know what a lead magnet is? Anybody not know what a lead magnet is? A couple people. So at the beginning, it's a lead magnet is my marketing is so good you'll pay for it. How many people want to get paid for their marketing, right? That's amazing. So my marketing in this case was I'm going to give you all my slides and my tool list if you'll pay me with your name, phone number, cell phone. And I overcame your objection to releasing that information to me by giving you something of so much value that 120 phones went up to pay me with your contact info and giving me the privilege of being able to talk to you at some point in the future. So that's a lead magnet. And when you create a lead magnet, someone will actually pay you with, hey, I'm trying to sell my home. I'm going to put this right here because I think you can hear me a little bit. So hey, I'm trying to sell my home in 3 to 6 months, 6 to 12 months, next week. They're going to actually pay you with information if you create something valuable enough to convince them to give you that information. Now, how to do that is kind of hard. Keeping Current Matters has fall seller's guide, fall buyer's guide. I'm not going to give you my pet's name for that. Love you guys, sorry, but like you can create something so much better than that. So let's say I came up with a Tribeca fall seller's guide for sellers within the 2 to 4 million price range. Well, that sounds like you're talking to me. That's my home. That's my price range. That's my neighborhood. And if you start creating guides, like go into your Compass CRM and figure out who your clients are, how they categorize, and you start creating guides for them, you create a persona for them, you write the guide to that persona for their neighborhood, they think it's about them. And they're going to listen to it and read it and maybe give you that contact information you so desperately want. Because how do you contact your next best friend if you don't know where they live and what their email address is or how to text them if you don't have that permission? So they'll give you that permission if you give them something of value. So we create now because we can say, please give me a prompt that will create a guide. I'm trying to find home buyers. I'm trying to find home sellers. I'll give you the topic. Gobbledygook prompt. PhD level prompt comes back from Digital Dave. And now I put in whatever topic. Where do I get that topic? Google people also ask. Answer the public. Just paying attention to what people around me are talking about. And create a guide for a niche as opposed to a guide for many. Because niches are where the riches are. We've all heard that. Or the riches are in the niches. So niche down with your guides. And then there's a tool called ManyChat. And ManyChat will deliver that guide for you. Have you ever been on Facebook or on Instagram or something? And someone says, hey, I just created this guide. Drop yes in the comments if you want it. And you drop yes. And all of a sudden, in your DMs, sliding into your DMs is ManyChat. Hey, I saw you wanted that guide. Can you give me your email address? Happy to send it over to you. Email address. Thanks so much. Check your email. And ManyChat gets their name and email address, puts it into your CRM, and delivers the guide for you, all on autopilot. It's pretty slick. So you can also create, digital art. I've got 2 books coming out. They're not out yet, but I created the art on Canva, and then there are tools that make it look like they're digital and 3D and are actually exist, right? So now when you say, I've got this guide, which is really just a PDF you're going to send over, you can make it look like something more special. Like, wow, that looks like it's pretty hefty, that guide you got there. That 1-page PDF, looks like it's 150 pages. So you can make it look kind of special and put that up as your art and say, hey, I've got this shiny, shiny thing of immense value. Will you please let me contact you and tell me how to contact you? And that's what a lead magnet does. But the beauty of AI is writing one-to-one, one-to-niche, as opposed to one-to-many. Hanging? And that's a lot of information. All right, so market confusion. I love Compass's marketing department. Our graphics are amazing. Consistently high luxury feel. It's one of the reasons, I told you there are 4 reasons. One of the reasons I moved over here. It's about 7, 8 weeks ago. But the infographics come out, and all of a sudden, 150 agents send out the infographic, and your client receives 15 of the same thing because they're on all your email lists, and everybody knows 25 realtors. So your infographic comes along, kind of boring, right? I've seen that, been there, done that. 15 other people, my friends, send it to me today. But they just said, here's the graphic, call me. But what if you said, here's the graphic, I interpreted it for you and your situation because I know your niche, you're tagged in my CRM, you're in my action plan in a specific way, and AI helped me tailor some content to you that derives value because I used the plus button in ChatGPT. I uploaded that infographic, I interpreted it for you, your specific situation, and now you're receiving value from me. So when you're going to call one of those 15 people who just emailed you, I provided more value, I stand out. Because I'm actually helping you make decisions. I'm not giving you just the market stats. I'm telling you what those market stats mean to you. Another thing you can do is kind of fun. No, let's stick there with market stats for now. Open house overload. I got to stay on time. I want to respect your time. Thank you for hanging in there. So, open houses. You guys do open houses in New York, or should I skip this slide? Okay, cool. All right, cool. So you might have gone to Tom Ferry in Dallas a couple weeks ago. Like, who went to Tom Ferry? Not a lot of Tom Ferry fans in the house, but a couple. All right, but do any of you have real estate coaches or have had a coach in the past? All right, so a lot of people have had coaches. So you have notes from your coaches. You have no.
I don't know to say Tom Ferry. I actually listened. He has a course.
Yeah.
I thought I saw him.
No.
No. Okay.
No. All my own stuff. Jason Pantera does a great job teaching AI for Tom Ferry. That's what the question was. So you go to an open house and you're like, I've got 123 Banana Street and I'm holding it open from 11 to 1 tomorrow. I forgot what to say. My coach told me all this wonderful stuff. I was really pumped up on the coaching call and I've fallen short. Or I don't have the money to hire a coach, or I don't have a coach currently. I read all the books, but I can't remember what to say. So I'll go into ChatGPT to become Iron Man of open houses. I say like, hey, ChatGPT, who are you trained on? Remember that, write that one down. Who are you trained on that teaches open houses for realtors? All of a sudden it takes those billions of words, billions of documents, billions of websites that it knows about, and it goes, oh, I know Tom Ferry, Mike Ferry, Brian Buffini, Daryl Davis, Verl Workman, Tim and Julie Harris. Like all of a sudden it narrows that down. And then basically saying, instead of act like a professional copywriter, I don't have to say act like a professional real estate coach. I'm saying, which coaches do you actually know? Now, based off of that, I've got 123 Banana Street from 11 to 1 Saturday. I totally dropped the ball. I haven't done any marketing. I don't know how to door knock. It's not allowed to door knock. How do I do this? Tell me, based off of the wisdom of the experts. Get in my head for my address and help me. And now using that distilled wisdom that it's trained on, remember 1,000 PhDs on your shoulder, it's going to guide you and coach you with your open house strategy, with your FSBO strategy, with your marketing strategy. Hey, what do I say on the phone? How do I do a Facebook Live? What other ideas do you have to market this house? Based off the buyer persona, right? You can go nuanced and how many levels deep on this. Based off the buyer persona for my open house and these coaches and their wisdom, what should I be doing? Is this starting to make sense how this all kind of comes together and how you can like really leverage this to the next level? Moving right along here for a second. I always forget, this is something I do reflexively, but I forget to teach, so I'm going to teach it to you. When you're typing a prompt and you hit return, it'll oftentimes send that to ChatGPT or Google Gemini or Copilot. If you hold down shift and press return, it gives you a line break. Hold down shift, hit return, you get a line break. Now you can start organizing your prompt and interact with it before you send it. People are like, dude, that's the only thing I took away from your presentation. A little bit insulted, but for me, it doesn't make a difference to have a line break. Not to ChatGPT, but to me it does. Because if I just have a gobbledygook paragraph, I forget like where everything is. So I need to organize my thoughts, not for it. So it doesn't matter to ChatGPT.
Question to chat today. What's the book? When you use the phone app, that doesn't happen.
Yeah. So let's do a little bit on nurturing. Follow-up, frequently asked questions, referrals, CMAs. Woo! I get real geeked out on CMAs. You got to stay for that. FSBOs, I'm going to talk about how to go to FSBOs, all that. So first to respond, kind of like how do you respond to somebody first? You're on a listing appointment. You're doing that $10,000 an hour work, and you're all of a sudden, all that content you've been putting out there, someone's like, hey, I want to be in touch with you. I need an appointment with you, but I can't answer the phone. I can't answer the email. Well, first of all, we already know, based off of the coaches, based off the persona, we can write some more specific action plans for our Compass CRM and put it in and tailor our response more closely to that person so that they hear us speaking to them and not like some generic content. Another thing we can do is we can create AI voice for our answering. So when you call in, AI answers your phone. And AI can say, hey, I'm Rick's AI assistant. How can I help you? And the conversation you'll have with AI voice is almost indistinguishable from a real human. And they can say, hey, I'm calling about 123 Banana Street. Great. Do you want to see it? Are you a buyer? Are you represented? No, I'm an unrepresented buyer. Oh, do you want to see it? Sure. Yeah. When's better for you? This Thursday or Friday? Thursday, morning or afternoon. Alternate closes for you. It'll actually schedule straight to your calendar. So you're in the listing appointment. You walk out. You're like, oh my gosh, my Google Calendar has a new appointment. It's all around the conflicts. It's all around the scheduling blocks. So there are AI voice tools for that. They're like, let's be on my tool list for you. But it's crazy and it's super inexpensive. But also, hey, can you write the warm follow-up for me? Adjust the tone for urgency, for empathy. You can drop it into ManyChat or some CRM autoresponders. Frequently asked questions. Since 2002, people have been asking me the same questions. What's next? What's an inspection? What's an appraisal? Well, if you dump your knowledge into a database, if you start dictating some answers, if you start researching the internet, dump that into a database, there's a little chat widget called closebot.ai. Closebot.ai. And Closebot, you can have this little chat engine, and so someone types a question, it answers and responds out of your wisdom, out of your database, out of your videos, your blogs, your whatever, and it'll interact. I have another friend, this one in Healdsburg, he has an interactive avatar of himself. So when people ask questions, they're asking a video him, and a video him is answering. Do they know it's not him? Heck yeah, it's a video on a computer. So why would he do it? Well, he's trying to show he's tech forward. Do you show someone you're tech? Do you tell someone you're tech forward, or do you show them you're tech forward? Some people are like, dude, I don't like your avatar. Okay, great. You're probably not my ideal client anyway. Others are like, wow, you're using an interactive avatar to answer my questions. I want to work with you. What would you do to sell my house? Right? Like, you're forward. And you can show people. Like, I used to do listing presentations via video. So I researched all the listing presentations online, found the best 50, and I found they all said the exact same thing with different graphics. I'm like, well, that's boring. I don't want to spend 45 minutes at someone's house. This is like 10 years ago. I don't want to spend 45 minutes at someone's house showing them the same slides that everybody else showed them. My graphics aren't that good. Canva wasn't around yet. So I went to a studio, got a teleprompter, green screened, and I did a 10-minute video, nuanced to the word, to the second, of exactly my listing presentation, and I got it down to 10 minutes. Now I sent that video to them, and I said, hey, here's a little bit about me, because when I'm at your house, I want to be knowing your goals, your dreams, your desires, what's special about your house. So get to know me ahead of time, and if you have any questions, feel free. I never had to give my listing presentation because my video did it for me. But what's the other benefit? I showed them I was into video when nobody else was. They already knew I was into video because I sent them a video. Show them you're into tech by introducing tech to them. That's the point there. So you can train the Closebot, ensure your answers reflect your voice and tone, etc. So past clients. I can be really bad about staying in touch with past clients. Then I read from Realtor, like, oh, 80% would have chosen their same Realtor if you dumb and stayed in touch, right? So I sometimes forget to stay in touch. Well, again, there are multiple ways to let your clients know that you're involved with them, you care about them. And maybe you just have to do that fall on the sword call of, I haven't talked to you in 3 years. My bad, I kind of want some money, so can I find out your address and put you on the most likely to sell part of Compass so I know when you're likely to sell because I need some money. Like, that's how that conversation feels. So your phone gets really, really, really heavy. But hey, ChatGPT, who are you trained on that can help me make this awkward call? Upload some emails of yourself. Upload your voice. Can you change that to sound more like me? So when I'm going through Ford, family, occupation, recreation, dreams, when I'm going through the Ford thing with them, and I'm trying to engage them. I'm trying to get their kid's birthday and their anniversary so my active campaigns in Compass CRM can work effectively, so I can find the most likely to sell people. But I got to update their information. Hey, ChatGPT, can you help me write that in my voice? So when I stumble doing the Ford thing, when I stumble asking them for the information, I can just kind of read something and calm my voice and make that phone lighter. Oh, yeah. CMAs. This is my jam. I love CMAs. All right, I used to hate CMAs. Full true story. So back in the old days, 2021, so 4 years ago. So 2021, that was a bad joke. I'm sorry. But anyway, so 2021, someone would call me up. Anybody work with wholesalers and flippers? Okay, so I was working with some wholesalers and flippers. And even if someone was just calling me as a cold lead and they'd say, hey, Rick, what's my home worth? So I type the address into NARPR, like great tool, right? NARPR, what's the home value? Redfin, Zillow. Oh, hey, according to my 3 models, here's your range. I figured someone had spent hundreds of thousands of dollars building these models out. They're fairly accurate. They're not exactly accurate, but it was a quick way to give them a range. Hey, you're worth 2.1 to 2.5. It worked for the day, but it doesn't work anymore. So now I can go into Compass. I can create a beautiful CMA. I love the CMAs at Compass. Again, the technology is the number one of the top 4 reasons I came over here. So I built out a beautiful CMA, but if I'm working quick and dirty with a wholesaler, I might get that email in, and I'll give you a real case example. 9 o'clock in the morning, wholesaler gives me this deal. And their ARV, their after repaired value, is junk, way overinflated. No one's going to ever pay that for the fixed up home. Their comps were junk, not even close to the house. But I have an address, and I have a Dropbox full of pictures of the home, 27 pictures of this junky home. So I screenshotted 9 at a time, screenshot, paste, screenshot, Control V. I just threw them into chat. So now it has 27 pictures of the home. I give it the address and the stats of the home. And then I go into my MLS and I quickly pull some comps. And I print out that listing, the listing history, all of the photos, 42 pages, all of the photos. Why? Because when I upload that PDF with the plus button to chat, ChatGPT in 10 seconds, 5 seconds, read the 42 pages, read the stats on the price per square foot, read the days on market, read the listing history, who was expired, who withdrew, read the price drops, looked at all of the pictures, knew and put in a table which home was better and why, which home had a bigger yard, which home had a better kitchen, like crazy. And I uploaded my investor buy box, which is what they were actually looking for. And in the buy box, so I said, hey, ChatGPT, again, this wasn't my exact prompt, but ChatGPT, can you match this to my investor's buy box? Can you give me an email with an executive summary, why it matches the buy box? Can you then also give me like, hey, the range of comps and everything? So it gave me a table of all the comps, why they were better, why they were worse, where they were better, where they were worse. It gave the repair value, low, medium, and high for the kitchen, dining room, the backyard, re-landscaping, all that stuff. Gave an overall budget, low, medium, high. Gave an ARV, after repaired value, low, medium, high. ROI, the return on investment for my investor, I sent it to him by 9:15. I got it at 9, sent it to him at 9:15. He gets it somewhere between 9:30 and 10, shoots over to the only open house they were having at 11. 40 other investors were there, 23 wrote offers. He missed by $5,000, but he called me and he said, hey, Rick, thank you essentially for adding so much value that I would leave work and go get into this investor nonsense mosh pit and know exactly what I needed to bid and where my ceiling was because you added so much value. You're my guy. Keep doing good work. That's what you want to hear from an investor, right? And so, yeah, I mean, if it had gone through, I would have made 10 grand in 10 days. That would have been awesome for 15 minutes worth of work. But my job also is to scan 40 emails that come in like that every week and give him only the 1 or 2 that match and tell him exactly why they match. And I add value in a way that other people don't add value. The other thing you can do, oh, sorry, you had a question. Oh, yeah.
I used to practice. And I've had some issues, because sometimes I just, when I'm doing the CNA, I have to do it with it. I will upload a spreadsheet of prompts that I pulled and ask Perplexity to, whether it's rephrase it or make it look nicer or prepare something that I can send. And it just doesn't read it properly. It makes huge mistakes. It will just, I don't know, spreadsheet. So this is the first read. How do you, like, what do you upload? Is it a PDF? Because I've had so many mistakes.
No, that's a good question. So the question, if you couldn't hear it, was she uses perplexity.ai. And I love that tool for what I use it for. But she was saying when she uploads her spreadsheet into perplexity.ai, sometimes it'll misread or it'll mischaracterize or it'll take things out of context. So what do I upload? Do I upload a CSV? Do I upload a PDF? And it depends upon what I'm doing and what tool I'm using. And if you're having trouble with it, sometimes just kind of keep playing with it and iterate with it. Perplexity.ai, by the way, is an amazing tool for like a how-to. Like how to boil eggs in a ski resort when you're 12,000 feet above sea level. How to fix my son's go-kart. How to pick between two AI tools. What are the steps to using Lofty or something? Great tool for that. I don't necessarily use it for crunching my data in that regard. Hey, how you doing?
I just wanted to come by and say thank you for hosting this, and thank you for everyone for investing in the AI roadshow and in the future of how we can use AI to be better. This is awesome.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, just have a great day.
Appreciate you stopping by. Thank you. Well, that's kind of cool. Thank you very much. So when I use Perplexity a lot for how-to, or sometimes if I'm researching like cost of living between Miami and the Bronx or something like that, it knows statistics really well. So does Gemini, which is part of Google, because Gemini as a large language model knows everything Google knows, which is everything. So I use it a lot for facts, but when I'm writing, when I'm doing quick stuff, I'm going to be in ChatGPT. If I'm doing longer form stuff, I'll use Claude.ai, CLAUDE.ai. Great for long form prose and content. Lead magnets come out really well there. But to answer your question, sometimes a CSV works, sometimes a PDF works. But if you're not getting the results you want, it might be you, it might be the tool, you just got to play with it. But that's why the human is always in the loop, because only you, with your expertise, knows what good is. So a rookie right out of real estate school can do real estate, but you're bringing your expertise, your knowledge of neighborhoods, your knowledge of real estate, your knowledge of selling and buying and marketing. And when you put that human in the loop with AI, you're unstoppable.
Hey, this is great, by the way. I don't know if you're going to get into projects at all, but one thing I would say is like the CMA, that was probably my biggest time suck. I could spend an easy hour plus doing a CMA for listing for buyers. Like I was just spending so much time. And what I've done is the instructions or the projects. And so with the projects, I have instructions. And so I've created all these prompts that speak the way that I speak. So like I have a certain format of how I give my evaluations. Probably just like everybody else here, active and contracts, sold, like what's going on in the market, how the market is, and what my strategy is. But what I've done in the projects is I've created this prompt that has that format, has my voice, how I speak, but then I'm constantly updating it with files. So like after every sales meeting, I take the market data that they get from like Urban Digs or wherever they get, I think it's Urban Digs, and like I upload it. And then I also, I put the CMA in it that I'm doing the evaluation for, and it just like, and I just try to put as much data into it, like current data, I'm always updating it. So then it's like, once I put that CMA in and I give it a little bit of a prompt of like what I'm thinking, it just shoots out an email exactly what I want to say, and I might have a couple more edits. But this is something that takes me maybe like 5 or 10 minutes that used to be like an hour plus.
Love that. So projects are on the left-hand side of ChatGPT. And so you had the chat window, and on the left-hand sidebar, that's your left, right? Yeah, so the left-hand sidebar, there was like search chats, new chat, then there's custom GPTs, then there are projects, then there's chat history. So he's talking about creating a new project specifically built around one thing you do. There's another way you can do that with custom GPTs, and both work very, very well. He just described eloquently how to use projects, so I'm going to skip that and go into custom GPTs for a minute. Custom GPTs is like building a little digital Dave for anything you're going to do more than once. And it used to be I didn't know how to delegate because it's like, well, I could just do it faster than I could explain it to you. Has anyone ever felt that? Right? So I'd rather just do it, and then you end up being the doer of everything. And if you don't hire an assistant, you are your assistant, so you're making $8 an hour. New York, probably $80 an hour, right? So whatever, adjust it to your local math. So now if I'm going to do something like, hey, I just did this really, really well. I like that chat thread. I got everything I wanted out of that. I iterated, I refined, I've got the tone, I've got the style. Hey, ChatGPT, can you create custom instructions for a custom GPT based off this chat thread and what we just did? Because I want to do this again. And then I'll go into my custom GPT and I'll put that into this custom instructions. You can also put a knowledge base in there. Hey, 200 words that top realtors use in all their listing descriptions. 200 words never to say in a listing description. 7 rules to writing a perfect listing description. Where do you get those? Google. Deep research. Hey, deep research, can you give me the best listing descriptions? It'll go on the internet for 15 minutes, research, and give you a white paper on writing the best listing descriptions. Upload that into the knowledge base of your custom GPT. Now little Lisa, the listing description agent that really knows how to write listing descriptions. Upload 18 of yours, upload 18 of somebody else's. That knowledge base in that custom GPT will now help you get down to 5 or 10 minutes, what used to take you an hour. Now you're not writing open, bright, light chef's kitchen. You're actually writing stuff that resonates to the buyer persona with that tool. And you don't have to do it new chat thread, new chat thread, new chat thread. You go into your custom GPT and do it. I was teaching at a conference last week, and one of my co-presenters said she's put up her org chart on the slide. There were 9 people, 2 of which were human. But she gave pictures, names, resumes, backgrounds to the other 7. They were her custom GPTs. Because when her other 2 humans were working with the custom GPTs, she wanted them interacting with Lisa, the listing description agent, or Mary, the marketing agent, or whatever, like insert your own alliteration there. So she like created an org chart and backgrounds and people, and she went and took the images into VO3 and created videos of them introducing themselves. Here's what I do for you. And a little video of Mary, the marketing agent, would tell the person using the custom GPT, here's who I am and here's what I do. And she found it humanized it more, and it overcame the reluctance to use AI and the 2 real humans that she had. And they started using the little digital agents she built more frequently.
Built that on ChatGPT.
She did a combination of tools. So her org chart was built out like in Canva with a PD, like a little slide chart. She created the images of the people using ChatGPT. She's like, create for me a so-and-so looking person. She brought that person over to VO3, or you can do it in Sora and ChatGPT and say, hey, create an introduction for this person. And then there's a little video of that person just moving around. Like, hey, I'm Mary, the marketing agent, and here's what I can do for you in my custom GPT. Like crazy, right? But now if somebody goes into her org chart and says, who should I be using? She personalized it and reduced that AI like willingness to adopt. That was a little, but like, again, part of this is to blow your mind to opportunities and say, if you're not doing it, people are. And unless you want to drive Uber next year, you might want to start doing some of these things.
Is there a closed caption product?
Oh yeah, yeah. So the question was, can you put captions and subtitles on video? And yeah, Big View does captions. So when you're doing your teleprompter, Big View does that. When you're using just about any app now, HeyGen has descriptions. Descript is one that if you upload like a long video, I'll take one of these presentations, put it into Descript, it'll transcribe the whole thing, put in subtitles, put in captions. I can edit it by words and not by sound wave. So I can say, I really like that paragraph, right click, send to new project, and I can just copy a paragraph out, and that video clip automatically appears with captions in a new project. What? So if you're like out somewhere and you do a presentation, or if you're doing a really long market report or something, you can just take a 30-second clip, you can take a paragraph, and you can edit by words and not by sound waves. It's just a ridiculous world we live in. FSBOs and expireds. Gentleman over there said he's using it in this presentation right now to work on a FSBO. But remember, we can also go back and say, who are you trained on? Who are you trained on that teaches FSBOs and expireds? I don't want to go to somebody and say, hey, if this QR code may or may not work, but try it. This QR code's for LandVoice, which is where I get my data. There's RedX, LandVoice, Vulcan 7. but I find Landvoice has the best prices, really solid data. And this is the best price you'll ever find on the internet for Landvoice. But you say, who are you trained on that trains on FSBOs, expireds, FRBOs, circle prospecting? And instead of calling up and saying, if I brought a buyer to your house, would you still sell? Why didn't you bring a buyer to me yesterday? Well, your marketing sucked, and I'm a good marketer, so I would have found it yesterday if I was your agent. Like, that's not going to work on anybody. But that's what a lot of people teach, right? So instead, say, hey, who are you trained on? Narrow down. Now it's going to act like one of those coaches. And then say, well, upload some of your text and say, well, this is how I speak. How should I approach this FSBO? How should I approach that expired, sounding like me, based off the best coaches in the world? Oh, by the way, if everybody else is doing what the best coaches in the world are doing, how do I stand out? Let's brainstorm 20 new ideas over here that nobody's teaching, so I can be unique to the seller persona of a FSBO in Tribeca at the $2 million price point. Like, all of a sudden, you're one-to-one again. You're unique. You're adding value. You're coming at them with something that they've never seen before. Prioritizing leads, a lot of databases like, Compass CRM has the likely to sell. If you're using Follow Up Us or Lofty or any one of these other tools, like, they all have some sort of trigger mechanism that will teach you, like, hey, who's interacting with your site? Who's getting divorced? Who's getting married? Who's having a kid? Who needs a bigger, closet? Whatever. They don't really go into that level of detail, but nonetheless, you can tailor your communication in your active campaigns in CRM or your action plans based off of, customizing your language so much more quickly to the persona based off the coach. This is all starting to click. Like, I'm saying some of the same things in different contexts for a reason. So it starts kind of anchoring that home to you, the process. All right, conversion. So none of us like Zillow. I know that. I know big man here doesn't like Zillow very much. But Picasso, which was one of their offshoots, does fractional ownership of homes. And why am I bringing up Picasso, the beast in the center of our Compass headquarters? It's a really good question. I had to skip this slide. But nonetheless, they do, Picasso is not Zillow, and Picasso does fractional ownership of luxury homes. So one of the reasons I bring this up is because I don't know about you, but in my market, it's a little bit slow. And in my private clients that, pay me $1,000 a month to work with them, like, they're a little slow, and they're hiring me to step it up a notch. And they don't want to drive Uber. They don't want to deliver Instacart. And they're like, how do we actually make real money at our real job? And so I was talking to Picasso. I'm like, how do we use AI to leverage fractional ownership? So I'm near the mountains. We're near Keystone and Breckenridge and some fun ski resorts. And homes are $5 million or $10 million. And people are like, yeah, not sure I really want to spend that much right now at 6.5% or 7% on a second home. And realistically, with where our kids are right now, we can only get up there one weekend a month, maybe every other month. So I don't really want like a $10,000 mortgage. Well, at this QR code are free marketing materials for Picasso. And again, they don't learn anything but like, hey, I'm interested in learning about how to sell fractional ownership. But maybe somebody wants to buy up in the Hamptons or go down in New Jersey or maybe over in Pennsylvania or something, wherever people vacation here. And they're like, I only want to get away a weekend a month or two weekends. I don't want timeshare, but fractional ownership sounds kind of cool. The reason I bring it up is because the average check they sent out for a referral in 2024 was $34,895. So AI, let's write some articles about the benefits of fractional ownership based off of some of these marketing materials from Picasso. And let's write an article and shake that tree. Remember that interest rate lock? We shook the tree. Someone got a $1.9 million buyer out of it. Bridge loan, shake the tree. Fractional ownership, shake the tree. What falls out of it? If one person falls out of it because they got an article from you once a month about fractional ownership, and you got one person to shake out of that tree, toss the name and email over the fence, Picasso educates them, Picasso nurtures them, Picasso closes them, and you get a check that averages 35 grand. That's not bad for sending a couple emails. So I bring this up as a way that AI can help you shake the tree and leverage new income sources that you might not have thought about before. Sorry, were you still taking a picture of that? Go ahead. Got it? All right. Conversion. I'm not going to be able to go into all of these because we have 20 minutes, but objection handling, role playing. Like I'm across the table from you in the morning. We're going to role play. Now I feel like kind of a dork because I'm screwing it up. I'm stumbling. I'm stepping on my tongue. Or maybe you're not as trained as I am, so I'm afraid I don't want to role play with you, or you're better than me. And so there's all this like social tension trying to role play with one of your peers. But you go back to that little bar, the chat bar, and there was like kind of a little podcast looking sound wave thing. Well, you can actually just have a conversation voice to voice with ChatGPT. So, hey, train it up for objection handling. Who are you trained on? I want to role play with you based off the teachings of Tom Ferry and Daryl Davis and all these other people. Like, let's role play a little bit. Here's the objection I'm likely to encounter on my co-op listing. I need to role play that with somebody. Want some real hard truth? Otter AI on your appointment. Again, ChatGPT, critique me based off of these coaches. How could I have done better? That'll keep you honest, right? But it makes you better. So listing presentations. We have beautiful graphics and listing presentations. Our marketing team does a great job. Compass does a great job. But maybe your content's like, sounds the same as everybody else. So again, either deep research or Google, find the best listing presentations in the world. ChatGPT, why is mine not there? How can I be better? Make me one of the top 5. Make me one of the top 10 in the world. Where is mine falling down? Collaborate with the best in the world. ChatGPT, can you rewrite my listing presentation? Can you give me speaker notes? Can we role play this? Like, get better at being at your listing presentation. Make your graphics better. I upload slides to ChatGPT. I'm like, hey, acting like that professional marketing designer, short gobbledygook prompt, master PhD prompt. Boom, can you critique my slides? So my AI roadshow graphic that you saw, I went through like 15 iterations of that in Canva. I thought it was great. Me next to the car, next to the palm trees, everything else, and ChatGPT is like, change this font, move this, more spacing here, change that, move this, do that. And so I change it, put it back, change it, put it back, change it, put it back. And all of a sudden, after 15 tries, it looked a lot different than my first slide attempt. And now my graphic approached something a little bit better. Buyer consultations, you can do the same thing. Appointment setting, if you're a little bit nervous about, like, how do I actually ask for an appointment? Who are you trained on? Here's my voice. How do I actually ask someone to that first date, right? The first date of, can I come over and talk to you about your house? It's almost as nerve-wracking as asking someone out for a coffee. Like, hey, can we just meet offline, right? But it's like, hey, can I meet you in your house and talk to you about your house? Can you open your door for me? Let a stranger in and sit down and talk about something of value to you. Well, how do you do that? Here's the coach you're trained on. Here's my voice. How do I change that? So I have some things taped up next to my computer screen that I can just fall back on when I'm nervous and just read that, but it sounds like me. Offers and negotiations. We were talking today is a brilliant example of going from 3.8 and 4.4 and arriving at 4. They didn't split the difference. He didn't say, hey, let's just go split the difference. Why? Because there's a book written called Never Split the Difference. And I think we can all agree, like, there are very few unique problems anymore. And if there's not a unique problem, probably somebody solved it before. And if someone solved it before, they've probably written a book about it. If they've written a book about it, ChatGPT's probably trained on it. So who are you trained on for the situation I'm going into? You're in the Uber, go ahead, it's okay. Thank you for saying. You could be on the Uber, you can be on the train, and you can be like, hey, I'm going into a negotiation. Who are you trained on for negotiations? I'm at 3.8, they're at 4.4. What do we do in this situation? Based off the wisdom of the experts, how do I advise my buyer in this situation? How do I advise my seller in this situation? Why? Because I forgot the book I read last night. I forgot to read 18 books on the shelf behind me on my desk. And if I read the 18 books, I wouldn't remember it in the moment. So everybody recommended this book. Are you trained on it? Great. Tell me how I apply that to my business today. So offers and negotiations, it's great for that. Testimonials, same thing. Awkward to ask for a testimonial. I'd love for you all to give a video testimonial after today. Real request. But like a 15 or 30-second video, like, hey, here's what I got out of Rick's presentation. That'd be awesome. So asking for a video testimonial or a testimonial from your clients. Now, phase 4, the vault. The vault is kind of what we get into when that $7 I was talking about. So I record, not only I've recorded or am recording some in launch phase on this, but all of the things we just talked about. slow decaffeinated presentations and step-by-step, because I'm kind of hyped up right now in front of the room, right? But slow decaffeinated presentations, step-by-step of how you actually do all these things. Every one of the 12 or 18 things we've talked about, step-by-step, how you do the daisy chaining, step-by-step, how you do the teleprompter, step-by-step, how you do the CMAs. Slow recorded how-to classes. Those are all going in the vault. All of these things I'm about to talk to are going in the vault. And that's what you get access to. So how to leverage LinkedIn. Who hangs out in LinkedIn? Professionals. Professionals have what? Money. Money buys what? Homes. We kind of want to talk to people on LinkedIn. So it's how to talk to people on LinkedIn, how to get LinkedIn newsletters going, how to leverage virtual assistants so that we're not doing the $8 an hour work somebody else is, so we can be doing the $10,000 an hour work. Creating SOPs, standard operating procedures. How do you do your job? How does the VA do their job? Tool recommendations, CRM cleanup, like skip tracing phone numbers, scrubbing emails to make sure you're sending stuff to the right places. Neighborhood pages. Oh my gosh, we never even talked about that today, right? But hey, ChatGPT, create a prompt that creates neighborhood pages for a real estate website. I'll give you the neighborhood. PhD level prompt, type in a neighborhood, boom, dictate a little personalization, weave this in, boom. You can write 10 neighborhood pages, 10 HOA pages an hour. 5 an hour, easy. And all of a sudden your website blows up. Who finds that? Google. Who finds that? ChatGPT. Who now thinks you're an expert? ChatGPT and Google. How do you get found on ChatGPT and Google? Boom. Takes no time now. This used to take an amazing amount of time. Website updating, HOA interpretations. You get the 10 years of financials and the meeting minutes and the director's board minutes and the bylaws. You don't just toss that to a buyer. You don't toss that to a lawyer. You upload it to ChatGPT. I'm like, where are the red flags? Write a letter to my buyer about what this all this 100-page document dump means to them and what they need to look out for, etc. Inspection, objections, and resolutions. You're tired. I was tired this week. I was like traveling all last week in the DMV, like whatever all that means, right? Virginia and DC and Maryland. And I was tired, but I had an inspection objection to do. So I was like, ChatGPT, I'm tired. Here's the report 532. Can you write the resolution? And it gave me the language that I could then edit, because why? Editing is easier than writing. So it gave me, 40, 50 words, and I had to change 2, and I pasted it into the resolution. I'm like, yeah, that's about what I would have said if I was awake. Use of avatars, video editing, AI music creation. If you're doing a listing video, you can actually create custom classical music, jazz music, blues music, rock music, set the tone. If you're doing a market report, get some custom music behind you. Using like Sumo or another tool like that. AI video creation, fun ones, like you hanging out with Bigfoot at a convention. Does that sell a home? No. But what I teach in the AI social media ads is you can scroll stop using that 2 to 6 second hook, do something shocking and arresting. I one time had a video of me riding a dolphin playing pickleball in Times Square against an orangutan. I don't even know what that looks like. But VO3 created a video of me doing that. I'm like, what the? I tried to create something as fantastic as possible. Why? The scroll stop. So then 2 to 6 seconds later, they can see me, but I've gotten past that 5-second YouTube thing where my kids have learned to just skip ad, skip ad, skip ad. I got past that to the point that now somebody actually sees me, they connect with me or my avatar, and now I can give them the data written to the persona that they want to hear today on a trending topic with the Answer the Public. See how it ties in, right? Documenting workflows, evaluating AI technology, virtual podcasts. You can have a podcast of 2 people, either a podcast with voice, podcast with video, where they're talking about you and constantly referencing Carol as the expert because Carol mentioned this and Carol mentioned that. And the podcast talks about Carol so many times that people are like, Carol is the person that I should be listening to. So creating podcasts about yourself. On the fly staging, like I was telling you, you can do this with ChatGPT. But I was like, 40-year-old man cave or 4-year-old man cave? How should we stage this house? And I was having my client figure out what the best way to stage that finished basement was, which was vacant at the time. Okay, so this is all overwhelming. The thing that I've been learning over the past 2 years, teaching this to over 500 agents who are all luxury agents, top 1%ers, the sad thing is the lack of implementation. So I'm in here talking to the wind, and my voice is carried over the Hudson and gone, right? And if you guys don't actually use this, then it wasn't worth my time to be here, and it wasn't worth your time to be here, and I don't want to waste your time. So what I've created was co-working sessions where we implement together. This isn't a class. The classes are in the vault. Those are recorded. Those are being recorded because we're in launch phase. But what I've created is a class where we co-work. It's an implementation session. And at 11 o'clock on Thursday, we work for 45 minutes together on lead gen. My laptop's open on Zoom. Your laptop's open on Zoom. You bring your problem to me. We work on your problem. Everybody else has the same problem. They're working on it. And like this gentleman over here, getting work done in the session so that it's not a waste of your time to be on the session. At 12 o'clock Eastern, on Thursdays, we go over nurturing. You bring your problem, we solve the problem. You're using AI, you're building muscle memory. Why? Because we're doing it on Thursday. I want you to do it without me on Friday. And if you get the muscle memory on Thursday, you're actually clicking the buttons. You will actually then start using it on Friday. At 1 o'clock Eastern, we go over conversion. So 45 minutes a time, roughly like 10 hours a month, you get me co-working with you, decaffeinated me, slow me, not yelling me, not projecting me, but you get decaffeinated me working with you while your ChatGPT is open. Does that sound helpful? And then you also get the 42 classes plus that I'm recording for the vault. So we have shortened YouTube learning. Because I don't know about you, but nobody got time for an hour of like watching a video on YouTube, half of which is a pitch and half of which is wasted. So there's like maybe 1% of information. So I teach how to learn from YouTube videos and apply them to your business. You go to a conference. I transcribe my conferences. I bring the notes back. I apply them to my business using ChatGPT. So I make money by going to conferences. It's not just the $5,000 wasted. Travel planning. I use this in my personal life. Road trips with my kids. Planning these trips. Creating voice guides. Custom outdoor avatars. It's a lot. Now, normally at this time, I'd say, hey, what did you learn? Talk to your neighbor. I don't really think we have time for that. But I think maybe my Google Meet's going to run out. But the question now is, what do you do now? Your eyes have hopefully been opened because your ears were open. You guys have been a fantastic audience. So the question is, what do you do now? Well, one thing you could do is don't do anything. Do you think it's safe to do nothing right now? It's not safe because everybody else is going to be starting to do this in some way. He's already doing it in this meeting. I'm doing it in sales presentations, leveraging that knowledge from a sales meeting and posting during a sales meeting based off of content, interpreting it for a seller to the persona based off the coach. Like if you're not starting to do that, all the noise is going to get bigger, the published output's going to be bigger, and you're going to be harder and harder to find. So do you want to be a needle in a haystack? No, because it's a lot harder to find you. The second option is do what I did, learn by yourself. I can tell you it's not really good for the income and it's horrible for your production. So I spent a lot of time going down rabbit holes. I took every class, every certification, all the way up to MIT, and I wasn't applying it. I was just learning it, and I was geeking out on it. I was teaching it. I was having fun, but I wasn't applying it, and your production goes, shh. None of us can afford that. But it's addictive. I spend 6 to 8 hours a day on AI. I'm inviting you to apply AI with me for the price of a cup of coffee. Really. And the reason I do that is, again, I want to be your referral source in Denver. Because I'm not making money off the $7. It doesn't even pay for my trip out here. But what I want to do is to really get you guys implementing what I'm teaching. I want to see all of your shiny faces, your happy faces, your grumpy faces. A couple of you, no, I'm just kidding. But I want to see all of your faces like working with me on Thursdays. So we do deep dives on today's 3 phases. You get access to the whole vault, 3 live weekly application sessions. You get AI playbooks. So I create playbooks, like a 50-page playbook on how to use social media, 50-page playbook on how to do daisy chaining, 50-page playbooks on all this stuff. It's not $1,000 a month, which is what my one-on-one clients pay. It's not, but it is $5,000 worth of content. Someday it's going to be $47, but not yet. This is in launch phase. So at launch phase, I'm offering it for $27 a month. $27 is more than a cup of coffee, even in New York. So I talked to Picasso and I said, hey, Picasso, can you help me out? I want to be able to offer this for the price of a cup of coffee from like Ralph Lauren Coffee or whatever, right? I want to go to Breads and say, hey, you could buy a croissant or you could learn from me for 30 days. So when you use the promo code Picasso, they're actually going to underwrite it for you and they're going to pay $20 and you just pay $7. So for the first month, It's $7 to work with me, and it will renew at $27. But what I'm hoping is I offer you enough value during that first 30 days that you're just like, dude, I don't know how I could live without this class. I don't know how I could do this without you. You're implementing with me every single week is actually getting me to do it, right? I've actually posted a blog post, every single week I posted one blog post because I was in your class, I was in your co-working session, we did it together, and now I have 4 blog posts this month. Next month, I might do it on my own, but I'm still going to come back because we're going to be implementing something else. So hopefully this QR code works. Maybe some people are getting through. Again, remember to put in promo code Picasso. You only have one shot to get that right. It's worth $20 to remember that. I will stick around for questions, and I thank you guys for being an awesome audience, but I want to give people we've got 5 minutes for questions, so if we want to pass the mic while people are doing this, if you have trouble with the technology, let me know. But again, you get access to the co-working classes, 10 hours a month, all the vault. I'm still building it out. And just as a refresher, I will send out a MailChimp within 24 to 48 hours of this class with my slides. I'll try to coordinate with Matthew and your sales managers to make sure you get them. The classes are going to be held with School, SKOOL. Sometimes that goes to spam. So if you do pay the $7 and you don't hear from me in within the next 2 days, check your spam folder, look for me, write to me. I don't want technology to get in the way like it did on that first slide, but you have a question. No question. All right, you have a question. Oh, so what's the 47 versus the 7 versus the blah, 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 right? Why so many prices? No, so there's no time commitment. There's no contract. This is 47 is what it's projected to be, in a month or two after launch phase. $27 a month is the lowest price you will ever see on this. And because you're here during launch phase, when the price goes up to 47, goes up to 97, goes up to 197, you're locked in at paying 27. That's my gift to everybody for joining Compass. This is what you're getting it for this first month, because I want to make sure that price is not the obstacle to you taking action today. So I'm just $7, make sure you actually show up at least once. $27 doesn't make me rich. I'm not going to stop selling homes. I don't care about it. But what I do care about is it's just enough that you're going to log in once in a while. You're going to attend a co-working class once in a while. It's just enough of the pain point to provoke you into action, but it's low enough that it's not going to prevent you from signing up. The classes are all on Zoom. Yeah, so the co-working sessions, 11 o'clock Eastern on Thursday, 12 o'clock Eastern on Thursday, 1 o'clock Eastern on Thursday. Those are all recorded, and they're all put in the vault. So the recorded classes are all in black, the co-working sessions are all in navy, and you can refer to those at any time.
Say about a virtual assistant. You kept talking about a virtual assistant. I went down that rabbit hole many times, and virtual assistant for me, with the country, the language barrier, whatever. Can you please tell us who do you like and why?
The question was on virtual, and I'm sorry, I'm tired of yelling, so I'm gonna use a microphone. So the question was on virtual. Thank you everybody who came and asked to leave. The question was on virtual assistants. Who do I use and why? So I started repping a company that's placed 10,000, I've become an authorized dealer for them. They placed 10,000 virtual assistants in the past 5 years. The founder is a real estate agent, so about 7,000 of the VAs they placed have been in real estate. They've seen every model, every price point. And so what happens is you go to tinyurl.com, tinyurl.com /RicksVA, RICKSVA, RICKSVA, tinyurl.com /RicksVA. That's going to take you to a place where you can book an appointment for 45 minutes, free appointment, talk to somebody. Company's called Sphere Rocket. Why do you use Sphere Rocket? Because that's what you're going to see when you go to tinyurl.com /RicksVA. So why go to Sphere Rocket through me and not through them? Because I'm going to help train your VAs on AI. And your VA is welcome to when you sign up with this, your VA can show it for this. No extra seat charge. So your VA, and what a lot of my one-on-one clients, when I'm on my implementation calls with them, I'm there with 3 VAs and the client. And the client says nothing, and the 3 VAs are asking me questions. Why? Because they're the ones actually using the AI, and the client just wants to know that they're using AI.
platform.
Yeah, so I also teach them the Compass platform. This is by a Compass agent for Compass agents, right? So I can educate them on the Compass platform if they don't already know it. Teach them the Compass AI because I'm a big fan of the Compass AI. I'm also part of the alpha that's got one of the 100 people of early access. And so I teach the early access stuff. So I'm way ahead of the curve on that. And so how does this work? So what you spend that 45-minute call with them and you describe your business. And you say, this is where I am with my business. This is what I'm doing with my business. And they say, well, based off of where you are and based off the 7,000 other realtors we've helped, we think you need an executive assistant, an ISA, a marketing person, a social media person, a video editing person, whoever it is. They'll go interview 150 people. 3 weeks later, come back to you with 4. And on a Zoom call, you interview those 4. You get their disc profile, you get their resume, and somebody from Sphere Rocket is on that call, helping moderate, helping ask questions. One of the things I'm looking for on that call is this somebody I want to talk to? Can I speak to them? A lot of them have been speaking English since birth, natively. Like they don't even know Tagalog, the native language, which is kind of sad. But so I'm like, I'm going to have a 15-minute huddle with them every morning, getting them on track, telling them what to do for the day. Am I able to speak to this person easily and clearly? Is this a call I look forward to every day? Is this an article I want to read? Is it, like if I don't want to read the article, my client won't. If I don't want to speak to the VA, I'm not going to make those calls every morning. So the first thing I do is like, is this someone I want to interact with? Then you pick your price point, $4 an hour, $8 an hour, $12 an hour. How much skill level do you want them to have? At a higher producing agent, I hire between $8 to $12 an hour. For a new agent, you can, without any money, you can hire as low as $4 an hour, but you're also getting a rookie VA. And so people hear those numbers, they're like, that's insane pricing. So, well, it's first world living at third world wages. So $6 to $8 an hour is middle class. $10 an hour, they're taking care of their parents. And they're doing it in first world ways, just at third world wages. So you start paying $8 to $12 an hour, you're getting someone with 10 years of experience. And that's insane. So now you say, hey, I want to hire someone to do my social media daisy chaining for me using my avatar to create videos, and I want to be on video every day. You get someone working 40 hours a week on that, dedicated on that, it's going to get done. And your consistency will beat someone else's inconsistency every day of the week. But yeah, I've had bad experiences with VAs, and that's why I started working with this company. I'm still going to have bad experiences with a VA at this company. I'm going to have a bad date. I'm going to have a bad hamburger. I'm not going to stop dating. I'm not going to stop eating. I got treated to Gramercy's hamburger last night. Like, wow. Like if I had stopped eating hamburgers because like I didn't like McDonald's, I never would have had Gramercy hamburger. And so I just wait until I have the chance to have a Gramercy hamburger.
Thanks. Looks like, what do you like to use for email? I use a plugin called Superhuman, but I was curious if you use anything that is.
Yeah, so the question for the online people, and the question here was, who do I use for email? Because email is a big time suck, right? So there are a lot of tools out there. One of them is Crystal Knows. Crystal Knows will actually interpret the disc profile of your client and write to them in a way that like responds to their disc profile. Crystal Knows. Crystal Knows. You can also do that with ChatGPT and other different ways. There are a lot of different tools like Jace.ai. There's Fixer, Fyxer. You got to play around with like a tool that's going to work for you, because an iPhone might work for you, or a Samsung Galaxy might work for you, or a Google Pixel might work for you. You got to pick like the operating system that works for you. But another thing you can do is go to perplexity.ai and say, hey, what are the best tools for decluttering my email and leveraging AI? Google has AI built into Gmail. I don't know if you've seen that little star button up there, but whatever. So Google has AI built in. There's a lot of different ways to do that, but you got to kind of find your own. Perplexity, hey, give me a tool that compare these tools. Here's my preference. Which one should I pick and why? And let AI help you pick that tool. Other questions?
How many people are on this call?
So at any given time, I mean, it could be 10, it could be 30, but they're manageable size. So everybody gets face time. Everybody's working on something. Great question. Thursdays. So it'll be happening this Thursday. Yeah, absolutely. So if you're investing $7 and your 30 days starts running, you get 4 full Thursdays with me before you have to decide, like, do I renew at 27? So 45 minutes for phase 1, 45 minutes for phase 2, 45 minutes for phase 3. I get 15 minutes in between because inevitably work comes up. I've got to handle like work in little blocks. So 3 blocks of 45 minutes on Thursdays, 11, 12, and 1 Eastern. Yeah, just bring your team onto the Zoom call, like huddle around in your office and hop on. Yeah. Thank you so much. Any more questions, just come up to me one-on-one. I'm going to release everybody on Zoom. Thank you. Wait, say that again.
I love you. I'm a lawyer and now I've broke for the last 25 years, but I'm also